On this episode of Strange Stuff from My Study, Edgar Allan Poe-phernalia. Now, I don't so much collect Poe as I accrue Poe, and that was particularly true during the year and a half it took me to write Poe-land. And the two items I want to show you in this episode I received during the writing of Poe-land. The items couldn't be more dissimilar. They are wildly different in every possible way, but they do share a common connection, which I will get to here later in the video. But first I want to show you one of the items, which is this innocuous black booklet. It's a printing of The Raven that was given to me by Peter Fawn, who is the owner of the world's largest collection of Poe memorabilia and Poe-related artifacts. I visited him for the book at his home in the UK, and during that visit he gave me this booklet. So it has tremendous sentimental value to me. But beyond that, it's over 100 years old. I looked around online to see if I could find any kind of clues as to its backstory, but all I could find was what's already printed on the title page. The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe, lettered and decorated by Sexton Wilkerson, the Stone Printing and Manufacturing Company, Roanoke, Virginia. And as you can see, it's a gorgeous printing. The scroll work is amazing. You can see the bust of Pallas and the Raven at the bottom of every page. I don't know all the terminology for this kind of media, otherwise I would describe it better, but basically it's a gorgeous printing of the Raven. Now, the only other clue I have as to the existence of this artifact is a small little card that came with it, a business card basically, that says, "With compliments, Edward L. Stone, President and Treasurer of the Stone Printing and Manufacturing Company." So that, the idea behind it and the probability is that this printing was done by the Stone Company as a gift to clients and prospective clients to kind of show off their printing chops, to show what they could do with just a simple poem, some paper, and a guy named Sexton. And it's amazing. It's a great artifact, and it might seem weird at first that they picked the Raven for such a showcase of their talents, but two things. One is that they're headquartered in Roanoke, Virginia, and Virginia is the state that Poe claimed as his home state, even though he was born in Massachusetts. The other is that this was printed in 1909, which was the 100th anniversary of Poe's birth. So Poe was probably top of mind in the newspapers and in popular conscience at the time, and so it makes sense that they would, take advantage of that. Now the other item, as I said, is nothing at all like this one. Starting with the age, whereas this is over 100 years old, the next item is barely over a year old and is a mask of Edgar Allan Poe. So in 2013, Fox debuted a primetime show starring Kevin Bacon about a serial killer cult dedicated to and inspired by Edgar Allan Poe. Now, I watched about half a dozen episodes of the show. It wasn't really my thing, but one thing they did that was kind of striking and stuck with me, and I'm definitely fascinated by, is they turned the face of, America's greatest poet here into a serial killer mask. So much like the hockey mask of Jason Voorhees or the inside-out William Shatner mask of Mike Myers, now we have Edgar Allan Poe's face as an image of menace. Whereas before it was just the image of despondence. So the marketing department for the following decided to make a bunch of these masks of a much lower quality than the ones actually used in the show. But they had a bunch manufactured and sent out to media outlets and television reviewers across the country. And of course those media outlets and reviewers immediately put those masks on eBay where people like me can get our grubby little hands on them. The masks came in cardboard boxes that were decorated all over with images from the following, and the styrofoam head that they came with also bears the word nevermore branded across the forehead. So a really, really eye-catching piece in my collection. Also an eyesore. I'm fully aware that this thing is hideous in so many ways, but I really dig it. I like it because, again, it's an artifact that represents Poe at the top of popular culture. And that is the common theme between this mask and this booklet, is that Poe sells. Whether, it's a early 1900s printer or a early 21st century television studio or television channel, Poe sells, no matter what the century. Except for the century that he lived in, of course. And I'm not going to put on this mask.